This one is called In the Name of the Father and of His Wife, the Spirit. In the end, it doesn't really matter which gods you believe in. It doesn't really matter whether they sit cross-legged under a peepal fig tree, on the run from royalty, starving themselves out of suffering into truth. Whether they hang over the deep, imploring day to destroy the darkness, for congealed blood to become self-conscious. Whether they find themselves born in shit and straw, in peasanthood so to hang from a root, to finally break and beg for water, but refuse the sour of gall vinegar. Or whether they bend over in the kitchen, back curved but unbroken, to crack open the oven, where the smell of freshly baked sacrifice wafts into your room in your childhood with the ache of cinnamon. No, it doesn't matter which gods you believe in. What matters are the gods that believe in you. A bit of background behind it. It's like some of my favorite writers are people like Chuck Bukowski and Raymond Carver. So Raymond Carver actually wrote a poem about Chuck Bukowski. Or to be more accurate, he wrote a poem in the voice of Chuck Bukowski. Like I think the frame was kind of something like a conversation with Chuck Bukowski. So it was just Chuck Bukowski going on and on, like, telling old glory stories and stuff like that. So if you're a Chuck Bukowski fan and a Raymond Carver fan, you'll find that really interesting and funny. So this is not a direct response to the poem, I guess, but it's I kind of took that poem and went off on a tangent. So this one is called Chuck and Ray and Jeff and I used to think that love was a nail and hammer, stuck in cliched imagery, I know. Used to picture a bleeding palm and a crown of thorns. And Elohi, Elohi, lama sabachthani. I used to tell myself all I needed to understand about love I could find in the pages of a leather-backed book. And if I couldn't find it there, I wouldn't find it anywhere. I used to tell myself that if this wasn't love, I didn't know what love was. And so I used to lie on a bed stained with blood, exhausted with the effort of cleaving us once. She bled once, you see, after we fought. We always did fight. With the spite and the spit of two creatures caught, around sundown, just before night, and then after the violence came the rapture. But anyway, I'm missing my point. I used to think love was found in the tightly clenched fists and butterfly kisses, that every harsh word that went unspoken was somehow a greater testament to love. Every resentful song I swallowed down without singing, hanging by my thumbs from a precipice and swinging. I used to tell myself that this wasn't love, but of course it wasn't. February 12th, 2010. I saved her from my elbow to the face and the indignity, I think. First flush, bare blush romance showed its ugly, ugly teeth. I really did love her. I hope you believe me. I love her with passion and desperation, and the faith besides. Faith in something bigger. Faith in the narrative. Faith in adrenaline. Faith in morphine and in codeine. Drugs too many to count, I bought her. But after the rapture came the violence. She used to tell herself that if this wasn't love, she didn't know what love was. And she was right. I was right. Jeff was right and Leonard was right. We weren't nobodies who had seen the light. And these days mercy cuts too deep, so I hope you understand. Who has the time for love? I used to tell myself nursery rhymes, and sometimes I believed them. But Chucky had it nailed. I don't know what love is. This one is called Lips. If you've ever tried to understand the psychology of smoke and how it spirals and swirls and twirls and whirls into a rain-washed afternoon, you will understand what I mean when I say that today my cigarette tastes like Bukowski. I think about the who's and the whens and the whys of everyone who has ever called nicotine a friend. About the girl I met for a sea of a second when I was 14. We passed each other in the fenced-off path in the field. She was scowling in the glower, a cigarette defiant, but limp against her lips. School blouse soaked through to plastered skin and black bra. My grandfather tasted like the ocean, you see. I remember the rough of his skin. Bitten by sun and scratched by wind, black tar was no friend to him. The sea gave him life and livelihood, but took his lungs as ransom. His dower, yes. 15 years later, his face still sits in the square, in black, in white, my mother's wallet, in moments she thinks I don't see, in memoria, in tears, in salt and water, trickling through time and years in a beat-up fishing boat, to the eyes of a bride on her wedding day, closed against the lips of a fisherman. Now I think about the warmth of my teeth, a huff. Perhaps we put flame to stick, so our words need not be so cold. You've always found it hard to speak or wail or whisper four-letter words like fuck, or cock, or cunt, or love. Let us not be vulgar now. You have my heart and the flight of swallow besides, a flutter of swifts, and the swan storm of butterflies whenever your tongue writes a poem of mine, whenever my hand finds the small of your back is made of midnight. The songs of the sands of the whips, of the truths that we share infinite. I cannot explain further, or even begin to tell you about the words that I choke on. But sometimes even the good Lord finds it hard to choose between mercy or blood, flame or flood. If we do not share smoke, let us share the fire, and afterwards the coal, and afterwards the glow, and perhaps forever after, the darkness and the ash. I guess this is the very latest one I just wrote a few, I think last week, for Isheng's creative writing class. So before the class starts, we're supposed to it's kind of like a 15-minute free writing session, like the kind of free jazz improvisation that a jazz band would do, I guess, before they start on the set proper. So we're supposed to do that free writing, and this came out. It's called 24/7 Holy Burnt. Rows of madmen, prim and pretty, line them up on schoolyard floor, eyeing the flowers up like horses, baying at your bedroom door. Always keep me on the finger, always keep thought in control. Always paint in pale red lipstick, smudge on grayscale Valium so. Now fuck the folks who pray in tongue, yes. Fuck them preachers till they sigh. Cut them up with carving knives and roast their skins until they cry. Shut your faces, raise your guns now. Make such pretty rings of rose. Plastic men and wooden daughters, laid out in such marvelous pose. Marvelous things and diamond rings, oh, give your dowry to the earth. Pack the dirt, hide your children, rack the bits and cool the hearth. We the people pledge to notice the way you look with cock in mouth. We pledge ourselves in flight of fancy, to look and laugh when headed south, to march in time and bark on cue, to stand for hours with feet sore, to be the madman, prim and pretty, lined up on the schoolyard floor.